Okay, we need to plane some stuff, but unfortunately our planer runs off of the creek and our creek is having some trouble today.
I have to go check the screen and make sure it's working. I don't want to do this. This exact scenario is why everyone trains ice bath, because sometimes you just have to get into the creek and check the intake of your hydro plant while the water is slowly freezing. If you're new here, that's Mike, and on a routine walk of our hydro system, he discovered the intake was sitting nearly above the surface of the water, which is a bad sign because we need water to flow into the pipe and fall down into our turbine so it can spin it. Without that water spinning our turbine, we have no electricity, which we need to power all of our equipment we use for planing and everything. So we decided we'd turn off everything we could get our hands on. All the heaters must be turned off. Yes, even you must be turned off, Hydromat. The only thing stopping us from planing now is this 40-foot timber. This 8x12 is actually longer than our sawmill, so no matter which way you turn it, it's always going to be blocking something. In this case, our lift of lumber that we need to plane. Now the reason we've been so dedicated to getting these boards planed up is because a friend of ours is building a yurt. He needs these to get his floor finished, so I figured we better get this job done while we still have some power left, because later this week the temperature is supposed to drop to minus 40 Celsius. And at that temperature there's no way we're running the planer, so it was today or never. Yeah, this is Douglas fir, it looks like. Yeah,
exactly.
So 1/2-inch Douglas fir.
It's by
And rivets.
inch and a half.
And
half
rivets,
inch by inch.
And not even all of them are riveted.
We were pretty riveted that this was enough material to hold up an entire building. I don't know what it does. It's some sort of optical illusion, and your brain makes the space feel bigger. I'm not entirely sure what's happening, but it works.
It's just shy of 500 square feet, and
Yeah.
it looks bigger than that for sure.
Eventually, though, the conversation turned back to the level of water in the creek and our power levels.
There's pretty much no way we're going to get hydro up to the mill either. So what does it look like,
Yeah.
if there's no power?
It might be time to consider diversifying our power production a little bit. Even if it's still off-grid, it could be beneficial to have something that covers us if the power is low
Yeah.
and the water levels are low.
You can get these systems from Germany that are like a bio waste
It's
generator.
another maintenance checklist. Like that thing's a machine, you've got to run it 6 hours a day. You don't really run it like
That's
8 hours a day or 10 hours a day type thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that maintenance checklist, that's a huge one too, right?
Yeah.
You want to
Yeah.
have a low
Yeah.
maintenance system
yeah,
through and
that's
through.
where solar panels look pretty appealing because they're relatively cheap, and then once they're set up, you don't really have to mess around with them that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come up with some sort of a plan here. There will be something.
Solar
We'll come up with
hybrid.
something.
Yeah.
You guys seen this?
Just give me a second here, David. Okay.
Look at this.
What?
People just dumping trash in our
Not cool.
ditches. Here, let's just.
Well, obviously it's out of towners because
cafe.
we don't even have McDonald's. Where's the nearest McDonald's?
So we were likely moments away from narrowing in on the suspect who dumped garbage in our ditch. But then we remembered that our penstock had still not frozen over. Until the water was covered in a thin layer of ice and a thick layer of snow, we were going to continue to have issues with our screen. One of us was going to have to brave the icy depths. This is going in your pocket, it's ready to go. Oh, it's like quite close. It's like stuck.
Yeah.
got this
My
thing?
finger is so cold.
His finger is cold.
I'm out of here. I gotta say, it does feel like the temperature is dropping. I know it was like minus 15 earlier, but it feels colder now.
It might be. I feel like every joint is a little bit frozen. I can't walk normally. Can't make anything other than a fist under these gloves. Everything's tight.
You know what this reminds me of is the time that I had to come up and do this with the quad. And then my hands were so cold that I couldn't drive the quad properly, and it died, and I just felt like that was it. I was just going to be laying on the road.
That's a great video, by the way. Go check that one out. That's the time we re-welded something on the power plant.
Yeah,
and it's a great video.
that was
some like timeless classics in there.
a wild series of events. Oh. Yeah. So the temperature dropped about 10 degrees last night, so it's really important for me to check and see what our water levels are like. And boom, this is what happens when we have a really quick cold snap. The cold air turns the creek into ice faster than it can flow down the mountain. There is water in the creek, but this is our screen now. Almost totally exposed. This is cold, man.
How can we solve the problem of not having enough water in the creek? I mean, we can't make it rain.
We can't magically make more water appear.
If you guys are interested in the stuff we're doing here, head over to our website. We've got an about page. It talks a little bit about the history of our power plant. And at the bottom there's a donate button. You're welcome to donate towards plant improvements, maintenance that we're doing.
We have big dreams, but yeah, it's tough to get these things off the ground sometimes, especially when you're using the system all the time.
Yeah.
We have a great website, by the way, so you look at some instrument wood while you're there too.
I actually went and talked to basically the engineer behind making a lot of the custom parts and setting the whole plant up in a way that was like fairly smart, I think.
Yeah.
So he thought of this. He had a reducer, and it fits just inside the steel nozzle, and it's designed so that it flips open and you can put in your insert and then flip it back into place. So it's all kind of designed around this concept of being able to reduce the flow. And that nozzle, which is made of plastic, is no longer with us. It's been washed out by the pressure in the plant. I'm not sure how or when or why, but it's gone now. So he only made one. Here's one thing. I have an email here. I'm just going to read a couple details from it. But he only made one. It was designed out of plastic. He recommends just baking another one. Just make another one with a thicker flange. Basically, it had a back flange to hold it in place. And we could just make a thicker one. Or use steel or brass or something a little sturdier. The only issue I see with that is that if you use steel, you know, and it goes through anyway, or brass and it goes through anyway, there goes all your cups on your
Pelton wheel.
Pelton wheel. So
Yeah.
I do like the idea of using plastic still.
Does this mean we need to get a 3D printer?
I would rather somebody else made it for us. Why don't I just send you the measurements? I think the inside diameter is like 1 5/16 or something like that.
We cannot change the creek. We can only change things on our end, on the plant end, so...
Oh, idea. The other option is we could go to the actual penstock.
Yeah.
What if we just make the penstock bigger so there's more volume being stored? That's essentially your
Volume
battery,
available.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's a little bit of a cushion. Another way we could improve our chances of having water in there is to have a tighter seal on our dam.
Yeah.
And that comes back to a drop gate or some sort of, you know,
yeah,
little fancier system than just a couple of boards slapped on the wall. So
we definitely need a better drop gate. That's been in the works for a long time and just hasn't happened.
we have a lot of good ideas. It's hard to implement them though.
Yeah.
Everyone seems like an engineering challenge, and I'm not an engineer.
And the other problem is that the plant, when it does go down, we're often just trying to get it fixed and get it going right away because it's an unplanned outage. And there's very little chance for us to just shut the plant down for like 2 weeks because we're without power. The mill doesn't work for 2 weeks. Nobody gets paid for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it's not just us on the system. We have other people who are living off this power as well. So, I mean, it's not like we can just suddenly take the power away. So we want to, you know, do a minor improvement of some kind for 2 weeks. We have to consult with them and see if they're okay just, you know, cooking on a wood stove for a couple of weeks because there's not going to be electricity. I'm not sure how you guys would feel about that scenario, but
Well, we should definitely look into it. Definitely look into seeing what it would take to make a new nozzle up, because it's low hanging fruit for an improvement, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We do have a final offer. We're opening up a members area, which will get you access to some behind the scenes and some discussions like the ones you're about to see here. We're just talking about how expensive it would be to just put in a drop-in plant because we have a second line on our system. Right now we're pretty thrifty with our power.
Yeah, we are very aware of how much
We
there
tied
is.
into the grid. Do you know how many tools I would buy?
Yeah.
3-phase everything. Wind, turbine.
You're like the wild card of off-grid. Some days you're just chopping up a bunch of birds.
Okay, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.